Good morning and welcome to another edition of Study Time with the Word. I can really tell that we're going to be here for a long time. How are you all doing today? How's everything? How's the week going? The week began yesterday, and before you know it, November is already wrapping up, and then 2025 is here. I pray that all that we are proposed to accomplish by the end of the year, I pray that we all live to see the fulfillment of it. My name is Hilda, and it's another edition of Study Time with the Word, and we're dealing with offenses for the week. Yesterday we looked at why offenses, and today we're going to be looking at the mission of offense. When we talk about the mission of offense, beyond just the hurt and the pain, offenses, there's a positive side to it. We discussed a large part of it yesterday, but today we're going to be looking at what a lot of us, in most cases, permit or let the offenses do to us. You know, a lot of times we give way, we let the offenses eat deep into us, and then by the time we realize what is happening, we are long gone, and we are trying to make amends, trying to heal from the pain or the wound. So certain times we let these offenses eat us up so deep, and it becomes a Herculean task for us to realign our focus. So let's look briefly at the story of Absalom before we go into our points for today. Absalom, let's look at 2 Samuel chapter 13. That's a long read. 2 Samuel 13 verses 1 to 20 and also to 32. Let's see. Now we see Absalom, a son of David. You know, he had a half brother named Amnon and a sister named Tamar. I think eventually in the long run, Absalom named his daughter as well, Tamar. But now he had a sister named Tamar, and he loved the sister so much. So his half brother Amnon fell desperately in love with Tamar. You know, as at that time you could see cousins marrying each other and things like that. So Amnon became so obsessed with Tamar that he became ill. And Tamar, being a virgin, Tamar was a virgin, and Amnon thought he could never have her, you know. Now, so Amnon also had a very crafty friend. That's his cousin as well. His name is Jonadab. He was the son of David's brother, Shimei. So one of the days, Jonadab said to Amnon, "What's this trouble? Why should the son of a king look so dejected morning after morning?" So Amnon told him, "I am in love with Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister." So Jonadab said, "I'll tell you what to do." He says, "Go back to bed and pretend you are ill." That's the counsel that Jonadab is giving his cousin as well as his friend. See the counsel. A lot of us are surrounded by ungodly counsels, and when the repercussions go down, they are not trusted to help. So let's look at what happened here. He says, "Pretend you're ill. When your father comes to see you, ask him to let Tamar come and prepare some food for you. Tell him you'll feel better if she prepares it as you watch and feeds you with her own hands." So Amnon lay down and pretended to be sick. So he followed the counsel. And when the king came to see him, he did all that Jonadab advised him to. So David agreed to what Amnon requested and sent Tamar to Amnon's house to prepare some food for him. When Tamar arrived at Amnon's house, she went to the place where he was lying so he could watch her mix the dough. Then she baked his favorite dish, okay? But when she set the serving tray before him, he refused to eat. And then Amnon chased the servants out and said, "Everyone get out of here." And they all left. Then he told Tamar to bring the food into his bedroom and feed it to him there. So Tamar did as Amnon requested. But as she was feeding him, he grabbed her and demanded, "Come to bed with me, my darling sister." And she said no. She refused, but she cried. Then she said, "Don't be foolish. Don't do this to me. Such wicked things aren't done in Israel. Where could I go in my shame? And you will be called one of the greatest fools in Israel." And then she said, "Please just speak to the king about it, and he will let you marry me." But Amnon wouldn't listen to her. And since he was stronger than she was, he raped her. Then suddenly Amnon's love turned to hate, and he hated her even more than he had ever loved her. And he told her, "Get out of here." And Tamar cried. She said, sending me away now is worse than what you've done to me. Okay. But Amnon wouldn't listen to her. He shouted for his servants and demanded that they throw her out. Now, in all of this that happened, Absalom got a wind of it. And of course, he was upset. And look at what Absalom tells her. He said, is it true that Amnon had been with you? He said, well, my sister, keep quiet for now, since he's your brother. Don't you worry about it. That's what Absalom is saying. So Tamar lived as a desolate woman in her brother Absalom's house. Now, this happened. And looking at the verse 23, we see 2 years later. So Absalom bore this offense. He had this anger for 2 years. And it says 2 years later, when Absalom's sheep were shared at Baal-hazor near Ephraim, Absalom invited all the king's sons. He wanted to throw a feast. He invited the king. He said, okay, since you're not coming, you know what? Invite others. Invite your sons as well. So Amnon was invited. Let's look at what happened. And then look at verse 28. Absalom told his men, wait until Amnon gets drunk. Then at my signal, kill him. See what he says. He says, don't be afraid. I'm the one who has given the command. Take courage and do it. So at Absalom's signal, they murdered Amnon. Then the other sons of the king jumped on their mules and fled. So Amnon was murdered for a sin or for an evil he committed 2 years ago. Where did that leave Absalom? He went on exile. We see what anger, we see what offenses can do. So we see how offense bettered rebellion, bettered hatred. He put Absalom on exile, murder, betrayal, and division. And Absalom ended up in a very tragic way. Have you seen that? So I wanted us to see from scripture what offenses can do if we do not nip it in the bud, if we do not walk in forgiveness. So let's look at our following points for today. Number 1, offenses can stop the blessings of God from flowing in your life. You can stop the blessings of God because you become blind, you become ungrateful, you become a complainant. So you don't see the good but the bad. You don't see what you have but what you don't have. That's what offenses can do. You don't even see the good in others. Someone has done something to you before, no matter what that person does again, no matter how good no matter how good or whatever good the person does, because of that offense that you have refused to let go, you begin to say, no, I don't think he's the one. You rubbish everything the person does good. That's what offenses can do. It can keep you blind. Okay? Then number 2, and when you walk in offenses, you hinder the blessings of God because you become very ungrateful. And we all know that Thanksgiving brings multiplication. You become very ungrateful and then you begin to lose. You begin to experience losses. You lose your peace. You lose your joy. You lose your happiness. You even lose your mind, your heart. Are you with me? Then number 2, it creates doubt and unbelief. Let's look at Matthew chapter 13, verse 57. It creates doubt and unbelief if you will let it tarry. Let's look at what it says. He said, and they were deeply offended and refused to believe him. Are you with me? Look at what they said. They say, is this not the carpenter's son? We know his mother now. We know his father. His father is a carpenter. His brothers are James, John, Simon, and Judas. All his sisters live right here among us. Where did he learn all these? They were intimidated by the knowledge and the revelation that Jesus had and what he was teaching. And they said, and they were deeply offended and refused to believe him. They refused to believe in him. What was the offense about? Were they angry that Jesus, who they saw grow up, now have more? He has a better understanding, a deeper understanding of God and the ways and patterns of God, that they refuse to see the truth. They refuse to walk in it. They refuse to believe even in him. And then Jesus replied that the prophet is without honor, even in his own hometown and among his own family. So it creates doubt and unbelief. When you're offended with someone, when you're bearing offenses, you will see nothing good in that person. I tell you, even when the person is speaking truth, because it's coming from that person, you won't believe it. But if it was from somebody else, you will take it. That's what offenses can do. Number 3, it can ruin your spirituality. It can cause you to walk in the flesh. It can cause you to be carnally minded and not spiritually minded. So it ruins anything in you that makes you spirit. Are you with me? It can ruin your spirituality. So you begin to walk in the flesh. When you see the person, you remind yourself of what the person has done. Even if you have forgotten, you remind yourself of what the person has done and how the person did not do well. Are you with me? So you ruin your spirituality. You begin to walk in the flesh. You begin to hate. You begin to be bitter. You begin to do things that are ungodly. You know, I've always said it, that when someone have an intention to kill someone, or probably somebody kills someone knowingly, it's not that day the person killed the person. They've been planning it. It began from somewhere. It began from something. You know, number 4, it can abort destiny. It can abort destiny. What do I mean? There are certain people, you know, we had a teaching some time ago, the gift of men. When you bring offenses, even with destiny helpers, you can't be helped. You can't be helped. That's the truth. A lot of us are bearing offenses. Somebody you ask for something and then say, oh, I don't have now. Give me some time. I'll sort it out. Some of us are offended. Some of us even want to know the account balance. It's a lie. He just doesn't want to help me. That's why. Is it your money? Are you the one that gave the person the money or the thing you're asking him for? You have it. If you have it, why are you asking? Some people are offended when people don't help them. They're angry. Are you the one that put the money in their pocket? And then when you continue like that and work with people like that, you miss out. You can't fulfill destiny that way. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you anything. Not even God. He doesn't owe you. Be responsible. Okay? Change. If you're the type of person that gets offended when people don't render assistance, there's some person that want to ask for something and they're afraid of, they're saying what if the person says no. And because they're afraid of hearing no, they don't ask. Hello, it's pride. Wake up. Because they're afraid the person will tell me no. They don't even want to hear no. They don't want to hear that. They just hear that no as a rejection. So they don't even want to feel rejected. And because of that, they languish where they are. And even when you ask for help and the person says no, don't be offended. Are you with me? Don't be offended. The person is not obligated to come to your way. There's no obligation. There's no way it's written in any law that is that person that will give you that thing you're looking for. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, okay? Number 5, it keeps you trapped. Offenses keep you trapped. A certain person that are seeking certain things from God or from persons, and some persons are even in captivity. Their deliverance is tied to forgiveness. And some persons that have died because of unforgiveness. You know, the more unforgiveness you carry in your heart, the more your blood pressure goes up. The more it's going up. It doesn't matter if you're eating right. If you harbor this kind of offense or kind of bitterness, you see, if you like, eat the right food. If you like, don't even eat carbohydrates. Eat fruits. Eat veggies. You have high blood pressure. Are you with me? So let's do away with offenses. Let's do away with it. When we let it stay or rest with us, it creates a mountain. It creates a surmountable. It creates problems and challenges that we'll start seeking help for. And then we are going for prayers here and there, not knowing that the problem is here. The problem is within us. Not in the looking for prophet, looking for pastor to pray for you, to see for you, for clarity, for direction. It is here. Our problem is here. Number 6, it causes you to strive with God. Isaiah 45 verses 9. It causes you to strive with God. Isaiah 45 verses 9. It says, what sorrow awaits those who argue with their creator? Does a clay pot argue with its maker? Does the clay dispute with the one who shapes it, saying, stop, you are doing it wrong? Does the pot claim, how clumsy can you be? God is the potter, we are the clay. He makes, he molds. Some of us, we come to the point because of offense, we begin to query God. We begin to query him. We begin to bear offenses even with God. Why is that person doing? Why is it not me? You know, God is unquestionable. It's not of him that willeth of him that runneth, but of him who shows mercy. It's the mercy of God that you are enjoying. That's why you are standing and asking questions. If that mercy is taken away, who will you ask? Where will you be? So be grateful, be thankful. Okay? Some of us begin to bear offenses even with your maker, with your creator. That shouldn't be. Okay, let's look at Job chapter 9 verses 4b. Job 9, verses 4b. It says, who has ever, let's look at verse 4 in totality. Verse 8 says, for God is so wise and so mighty, who has ever challenged him successfully? Who has ever challenged him successfully? None. Let's look at number 7. The enemy uses these offenses as a weapon to steal from you and destroy. We all know that he's a thief. He cometh not but to steal, to kill, and to destroy. He uses offenses to steal, to kill, and destroy. We become more like the people of the world when we begin to have offenses. That's why I said yesterday, let God use that experience to make you, to build you, and to mold you, as seen with Joseph and Jacob. Don't give the enemy that as a tool to use against you. No. You know, whatever it is we have, we are the one that decides what we'll do with it. Whether it will end up in good or for bad, it's our decision. Somebody offends you, take it to God. Don't stay brooding, complaining. In 1 week, 2 weeks, you're still on it. We see that with Absalom. 2 years. Planned Amnon's killing. And because of that, he threw a feast nobody would have guessed. And commanded his men, say, kill him. Say, I'm the one that says so. Wait till he's drunk. Kill him. Because of what he did 2 years ago. Some of us are like that, harboring offenses. Are you with me? So, we become more like the people when we do that. Then number 8, it causes us to do the will of the enemy. The enemy ensnares us through offense. Then we begin to manifest the feelings of anger or emotions of anger, resentment, wrath, criticism, which ultimately leads to rebellion, fighting, and divisions. I read that again. It causes us to do the will and desires of the enemy. He ensnares us, that's the Satan himself, ensnares us through offense. When we let offenses thrive with us, he ensnares us with it. When he ensnares, just like he uses it to lure you and traps you in it. So when the person does something good to you, he tells you, don't mind that. You to not say, all this one you are doing, self, we are just pretending. Then when he does that, we begin to manifest the feeling or emotions of anger, resentment, bitterness, wrath, criticism, which ultimately leads to rebellion, fighting, and divisions. Have you seen 2 adults fighting? 2 adults fighting is a proof of mental instability. You're mentally unstable when you have to go physical to fight. You're mentally unstable. It's not about what caused the fight. It's about what is going on with you and in you. It's not about what caused it. All you needed to do was that simple trigger, and then you are boxing. There are people that some people finish fighting and go home and tell them, say, I wish I had knocked him on the. Are you with me? It's a proof that you're mentally unstable. What has fighting resolved? What has it got? Where has it gotten you? You know, let's look at Matthew chapter 24, verses 10. It says, and many will turn away from me and betray and hate each other. Jesus speaking and teaching them. He was talking about, see, I tell you the truth there. No matter how good you are or you become or how much of God you carry, don't expect that everybody will like you. That's the truth. Don't expect that everybody will like you. Even Lucifer was in heaven. And was nursing an evil thought. Pride. So even Jesus, his own hometown, see what they said concerning him. Do you understand me? They were offended by him and didn't believe in him. See Jesus and Judas. Jesus, the Son of God, an epitome of love, sacrifice, selflessness, kindness, care, compassionate. Judas still betrayed him. So no matter how, you see, don't expect that everybody will love you, or everybody should love you, you know. Then number 8, it causes, we've said that already. Number 9, it's an attraction for every kind of spirits that are not of God. When you dwell in offenses, you start dealing with bitterness. You start dealing with the spirit of anger. You start dealing with lack of contentment. You start dealing with murder, I tell you. You start dealing with a lot of wickedness in high places. And then you know what? You make your heart a habitation for them. A habitation, like a very suitable place for them to come and dwell. That shouldn't be so. You know, some persons who are working in captivity or who are in captivity, a lot of them, their solutions, their deliverance lies in working in love, in working in forgiveness. Some of them started from unforgiveness and bitterness and give room for every other kind of spirit. Then number 10, it can cost you your life. Dwelling in offenses can even cost you your life. When you lose the presence of God, you're as good as not alive then. Then talk more of having other sicknesses. It introduces and gives way for other sicknesses to dwell in your heart. Start having heart problem. Start having high cholesterol. You start having blood pressure. Before you know it, you've entered stroke. You've entered, things like that. So avoid dwelling in offenses. Number 11, it breaks down your defenses. What do I mean by that? It kills your spiritual discernment and sensitivity. Even your objectivity. It takes it away. When you're offended, even if anybody says something good about somebody, you will find something bad. It kills your discernment and sensitivity. You begin to suspect everything the person does. And you now make somebody your focus instead of God. Are you with me? So it breaks down your defenses. Then lastly, it creates division and rebellion. We see that with the book of Samuel, what we read earlier. Absalom, Amnon, and Tamar. We see Absalom going against the father, Are you with me? I hope we're blessed by today's teaching and study time of the word. Tomorrow we're going to be looking at signs that you're offended. Some of us are in denial when we're offended. I've met a lot of people, when you talk to them, I ask them, are you offended? They tell you, no, I'm not actually offended. But, when that person, I'm like, okay, are you offended? Really? A lot of us are in denial when we're offended. A lot of us don't even know that we're offended. I tell you. So tomorrow we're going to be looking at signs. What are the signs that we look at or we should look out for as proof that we're actually offended? Some persons, when you tell them, are you offended? They say, no, I'm not the kind of person that get easily offended. Say lie, they're angry. They're angry. Just chipping the wrong word, you see, emotions will run wild. Thank you so much for this edition of Study Time with the Word. I'm going to be here again tomorrow morning, and it promises to be an impactful time in the presence of God. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Hilda. I'll be here again tomorrow, 9 a.m. Please don't forget to join us. And as well, we have our videos on all our social media handles. For every episode or edition of Study Time with the Word that you've missed, we have it on all our social media handles. Please listen to them again and be blessed. God bless you.